Welcome to the Sunrise Spotlight Episode 3, and today I'm here with my friend Chris Woodruff, owner of Vero Watersports. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So I really wanted to invite you to this podcast because you've been a business mentor and a friend to me ever since I started Sunrise Multimedia, and I thought today would be a good day to learn a little bit about the inception of Vero Watersports. So what originally started you in this line of industry and with water sports?
Teaching paddleboarding actually started all of it. I'd gotten into paddleboarding and I'd taken some friends to a place to rent, and they didn't teach how to do it. It was, here's our board, we'll take your money.
Yeah.
Don't die, bring our stuff back. It was kind of this thing. So, and I realized that those friends did not enjoy it because it was very windy. We probably shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
And it kind of taught me, like, oh, there's a thing here, right? Like if you teach it and do it well, you'll succeed. And so I started just giving lessons. And then it kind of snowballed. It's kind of that opportunity handled well leads to more opportunity. And so it slowly kind of snowballed into all the other things we do now.
And so was paddleboarding like the first venture as an entrepreneur, or did you have some other business idea before that?
I had other ideas. I actually did not think it was going to be that.
So what were some of the other ideas?
Pizza place. So in high school, I ran a pizza place.
Sure.
And delivered pizzas and did all that. I did pretty much everything you can do in a pizza place.
Yep.
And I thought it was going to be a pizza place. I was actually working towards like creating a recipe or menu and, getting that all done. And then I kind of stumbled onto this. It kind of clicked a little bit more. It was easier to get into, right? Like buying 7 paddleboards is way cheaper than leasing a big space and buying ovens.
Yeah.
All that.
So you started with kayaks and paddleboards, and then how did you kind of grow from there?
Actually, just paddleboards. I bought 7 paddleboards, and I worked a normal, no-fun job. I worked in car dealerships as a service advisor.
Nice.
Which was a great job. It was a good career. And
Sure.
that kind of helped me jump into it because I had that fallback. I could always go get a job doing that again.
Sure.
But yeah, I started giving lessons on the weekends while working that job, and I did that for a year. And at the end of the year, I realized if I put the time and effort I did into the car dealership, I could make this succeed.
Was it always called Vero Watersports? I think you used to have Paddles by the Sea. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Still have Paddles by the Sea.
Okay.
That does paddleboard and kayak lessons and tours and rentals. It also does beach chairs and beach cabanas for beach resorts. We also do drop-offs at public beaches and things like that.
Okay. And so what is your favorite part of the business?
I like mentoring and training new employees. That's really fun, teaching them new things. The business has gotten fairly large now where we can actually make boat captains and things like that. So it's fun to watch them start off dragging chairs down the beach and move up into the tackle shop and then move into like becoming a boat captain. It's nice to be able to offer a career path within and watch them grow.
And so for somebody who's visiting Indian River County, what are some of the activities? I know you mentioned kayak and paddleboards, but can you give me a list of services that you guys provide?
Yeah, it's quite a few, actually. I hope we got a few minutes.
We do. Go for it.
So we have a bait and tackle shop. So if you want to go fishing, we got all the inshore gear you're going to need for the Indian River Lagoon. We have some beach fishing, a little bit of offshore, but mostly inshore. Live bait. We do fishing charters through that tackle shop also. We do boat rentals. We have a sightseeing tour boat. It's actually an electric boat. It's actually really fun when you get near a dolphin. It's silent, so you can actually hear them breathe.
Wait, explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we have this little electric boat that does sightseeing boat tours.
Yep.
And it's fantastic because it sits a little low in the water. It's like a little gondola-looking boat, and it's silent because it's electric. So when we and I think if we're playing music, dolphins are kind of like drawn to it.
Sure.
And so it's really cool. So you get a really good experience with that.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And then the tiki boat.
Yep, I was on the tiki boat the other week. That is awesome. That is truly an amazing experience. I feel like whenever I'm on the water, it's always work related, but I got to sit down and relax on your tiki boat, and it was so relaxing. You took us around to some nice houses. We saw mini pods of dolphins. That is definitely something I have to do again.
Yeah, you do.
So coming from being an entrepreneur, you've been now in business for how many years?
Going on 12 years now.
12 years. So you've had a lot of successes, but I'm sure you've also had some growth that has happened through that may have not always been so easy. So as a business owner, entrepreneur, what has been some of your pain points, building the brand that you have today?
I think The biggest one and probably the hardest one is letting go and letting managers be managers.
Sure.
And hiring the right ones too, right? So that's what I mean, like, finding the right people, training them, and letting them do what they're going to do. And not, as an owner, you probably do it best than most.
Yeah.
But you need to let it go and let them do it. And that's really hard to do.
Yeah, it is extremely hard to do because you feel like you know what you're doing the best, and when you give it to someone else, sometimes you feel like they're not going to do as good of a job, but you can't grow the business by yourself.
That's exactly. I can't be everywhere at once if I want to be sane when I'm done with this.
And so what got you locked down to Vero Beach? Like, was there any other locations that you kind of started with, or did you discover Vero and said, I want to start this business here?
So when I started, it was actually giving the paddleboard lessons was through a meetup group. This was like Facebook events were like kind of just starting back then. So we were doing a meetup group, and it was from Vero Beach to Boynton Beach. So I found all those little spots, and I just kind of fell in love with Vero coming up here and doing all the tours. And I got really lucky in the spot we're in. It just kind of, I inquired about it, and they're like, yeah, sure. Do you want to just, take that over like this weekend? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So it was right place, right time, right location. It was very cool.
Okay. And then kind of moving into like what has been your inspiration, like who has inspired you the most when it comes to being an entrepreneur and being the business that you are today?
That is probably the hardest question so far. This is a good one.
And it doesn't have to be someone in your life. It could be someone that you saw online. It could be, I know you watch the Founders podcast, people that we've kind of seen as we grow, that have inspired us. So
I think just the Founders podcast in general, honestly, I think if you're an entrepreneur, like that is one of the core things you have to do. Listen to that. Learning lessons from the founders before us.
Yeah.
It's just great information. And it really is nice because it makes you kind of feel like you're alone when you're an owner, right? You're at the top of the food chain in that business. Knowing that other entrepreneurs had hard times also, because we all do, but we don't always see it. We don't publicly acknowledge those things, right?
Yeah.
And so when the Founders podcast talks a lot about the struggles of people that you did not know had struggles. So it's really kind of comforting to realize that everybody kind of goes through that.
So what was the hardest part about building a water sports business in Vero Beach?
I would say that there's not a lot of people here, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to scale a business when there's not that many people to sell to, right?
Sure.
So that makes it hard. And it's such an interesting group of people with snowbirds coming in and out and people staying year round. That might be a younger demographic. So like trying to find the person that's going to be your customer or your guest is very difficult. Like we actually run paper ads and things in the winter.
Yeah.
And then it's all digital in the summer because it's very interesting.
Do you have, is it primarily tourists that are, coming to Vero Tackle and Paddles by the Sea, or is it, the locals, or is it a mixture of both?
It's both. And it depends on it. So like bait and tackles, locals, but also, they're visiting in town. They're visiting grandma, right? I always ask people on tours how they found Vero because it's an odd town to just go vacation at, right?
Yeah.
It's off the beaten path. It's usually Disney or grandma. Is who they're visiting.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So when they're visiting grandma, they'll come and get bait, but that one's pretty regular locals. But all the other, every category we do has a different customer avatar, right? So paddleboard.
So it's
rentals,
pretty wide.
Yeah,
a pretty wide array of people who come and spend money with you all.
I have whiteboards of each category of like who's my customer for paddleboarding, who is it for beach chairs, who is it for fishing charters, and they're wildly different, everyone. So like trying to market to that is odd.
And what would you say when a customer comes to your business and has a great experience? Like, what is something that they would say when they had a great day at Vero Water Sports?
I think a lot of it's the crew we have. Tiki boat, for example. You didn't get this experience because I was your captain, unfortunately. But Captain Bob he gets so many reviews, and they say him by name, and he hands down gets a fantastic review every time he goes out. It's just the personality. He plays the right music.
Yeah.
There's an ending song he plays. Like it's really kind of curated, even though it doesn't feel like it.
So that's the experience you kind of want your customers to have. You want them to, because I know, having been somebody who's paddleboarded with you before, you're very adamant about good weather and making sure that the customer has the best experience that they possibly could have. And I know, kind of referencing back to your origin, having gone paddleboarding with some friends, you want people to have the experience. That's the whole thing.
And I think a lot of it comes with the crew. Like even our beach crew guys, like they're trained to walk the guests to the chairs, sweep sand off off the pad, and open the umbrella for them. It's all part of our core training and how we operate, and it's all part of those little details are all part of the experience.
So let's go into the funny aspect of being a business owner. We've all had a very interesting experience that we said, what the heck happened? But what's the craziest thing that you've seen happen on the water?
So it's funny. It's kind of what we were talking about. Boat rentals almost always have some sort of, I wouldn't say incident, but there's always some kind of story that goes with it.
Sure.
So we have trackers on them. And one of my favorite is we can watch them, and we explained this is where you go, mid-channel marker. You're supposed to have driven a boat before, but we'll commonly watch the no wake zone, and they'll speed through it, and they'll drift with the wind for a little bit, and then they'll take off at slow speed. They got pulled over.
Oh God!
Right. And so when they come back, we're like, hey. How did everything go? Was the no wake zone okay that we talked about? Like, did you get any tickets? Like, in the a lot of times you're just like, what? How did you know?
Yeah.
Like, we have a very
so that sounds like a really good tracker.
Yeah, a very good tracker. Yeah, we know exactly. We can see if they go over a sandbar. So we're gonna want to check the propeller afterwards. Yeah, that's a common one too.
What are some of the common questions that people have when they go out on the water? Because I know we live next to the water, so it's very easy for us to know what to expect. But when you have a tourist that has maybe never been to Florida, what are some of the common questions that they have and things that they expect?
Probably the most common question is, are there going to be alligators?
Yeah.
Which makes sense for Florida, right?
Yep.
Most of it's saltwater, and we rarely see them. Not common. That's probably the most common one.
What's the second common?
Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yep. Sharks is a good one. It's funny because a lot of times they'll ask about gators, but they won't ask about sharks. And I'm always amused by that because then I'll tell them, like, well, there's no gators, but there are sharks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What has owning Vero Watersports taught you about yourself?
It's taught me patience. Like I said, letting go and knowing, your limitations. I would have not guessed that the human part of it was my favorite part, right?
Sure.
I was a car guy before. I worked in car dealerships, so but the human interaction of like mentoring and giving guests a good experience. Like the other day, I was captaining a boat trip that the first time they ever saw dolphins was on that, and it was a really good dolphin experience that just happened to play out. And they're just losing their minds. And like I think the lady had a 90-minute video on her phone. Like she just had her phone out the whole time on record.
Yeah.
And they were just so excited. So seeing that is really cool. Just the human part of it, giving people good vacations.
And to somebody that's maybe thinking about starting a water sports business somewhere in Florida, what are 3 things that they should keep in mind?
The location matters a lot. Like the type of water is going to dictate what type of activities you're going to do, things like that. So be really mindful of that guest experience and that. And know that you're never going to get rich doing this. It's got to be a passion job. It's difficult. It's expensive. It's high margins. It's one of the harder businesses I think to run.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're ever thinking about any business, if that's your passion, it's also true that if you love what you do, you never work another day.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a true thing. And I think I prove that every day. But so if you're thinking about a business and you're passionate about it, do it. Go do it. It's going to be great. And if you love it, you're going to love it.
I think one of the toughest challenges that you have to deal with as a owner of a water sports business is 2 things, actually. Weather is the first thing, and having a location. So can you kind of speak on like what those challenges were like for you?
Yeah, weather is ongoing and brutal and highly unpredictable. One of my biggest challenges is the weather forecast saying that it's going to rain.
Yeah.
So we get less bookings than we would have normally. Like it's like a holiday weekend and it's 90% chance of rain, and then it doesn't rain.
I hate that.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So we get kind of wrecked on that. That's not fun. But in location too, that's hard. The best way to do that is collect allies. We go to the Chamber of Commerce, meet people, make friends. That's how I got where I'm at with almost all the locations, was collecting allies and making friends with everybody and truly, upholding that and making a good friend and a good partner. Like I said earlier, good opportunities handled well lead to more opportunities.
You're right.
And that's how I got most of what I got. Was just being really cool. For an example, when I came into town, I was doing kayak. I was just doing paddleboard rentals, I found every kayak and paddleboard rental company. I wrote down their name and phone number, and I either called them or I found them where they worked. And I went in, it's like, my name's Chris. I'm a new operator in town. We're going to be friends.
That is a very unconventional approch to being an entrepreneur. I feel
worked,
like.
though. I had no business to start out, and
Yeah.
I got their overflow. It was like, oh, this guy's really cool. He showed up. He took an effort. And it's just collect allies. Even if they're your competitors, make friends. Because like your overflow is going to work. If you're in a pinch and you need a favor, I need a life jacket. Whatever happened.
Yeah.
I need a boat towed off a sandbar, and somebody is closer by. You can help somebody. We're gonna do it. I've helped much of my competitors do a bunch of different things, and they've helped me.
Yeah. So I know as an entrepreneur myself, I'm always trying to find things that I can do different than my competitors. And so in your case, what have you done different, do you feel like, in your industry? I know you've touched on some of it, but what are some of the things that help you to stand apart?
I would say diversifying. It's weird the amount of things that I do. Most companies don't do. It's very difficult also. We effectively run 5 different companies in town, and they're wildly different. Beach shares is totally different than bait and tackle retail and all those things. So the diversification helps a bunch kind of flatten the year out and make it so I can employ people year round and myself. Which is nice.
Do a lot of companies, are they kind of niche down so they don't have as much diversity in terms of services?
That's right. And that's also a wise move too. Depending on your market, if you can run year round or make it work year round, it's great to do one thing. They either do boat rentals and jet ski rentals and they don't do anything else, or they do just fishing charters, or they do just bait and tackle.
What are you most proud of when you look at everything that you've built?
I think it's the diversity of businesses that I'm able to run right now. I'm pretty proud of that. They have a similar topic. They are vastly different.
Sure.
And it's very fun to do, and it's challenging, and being able to pull that off at a high level is very rewarding. It's different every day. I never know what I'm going to get into.
Every single day. Yeah. That's the power of being a diverse company and offering different services, is you never know what's going to come in to the front door.
Yeah, that's it, right? And I try to make myself available for all different business. I'm the backup for the backup.
Sure.
And so I do end up getting into the nitty gritty. Sometimes I'm dragging chairs on the beach. Sometimes I'm giving kayak tours. Sometimes
it's never a boring day.
No, sometimes I'm picking dead shrimp out of the tank.
Sure.
There is no job too small or too big, and it's fun to be a part of that, and it's very rewarding. It's fun when I have customers come in and I'm ringing them up at the thing, and they don't even, they don't know I'm the owner or anything.
Yeah.
It's just great to watch the experience and be a part of it.
That's awesome. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us on the Sunrise Spotlight. And thank you guys for tuning in to episode 3. And we hope that you learned a little bit about being an entrepreneur and how the water sport business works. We'll catch you guys on the next one.